What if you only have a few hours a day to grow your business? That can be the reality if you have a side hustle or you have life changes. For myself, my daughter has more needs, and it's funny. And I'm sure all the parents and all the caretakers can get this, but sometimes you're taking care of someone, and then I think it's especially true with children, but maybe it's true with caretaking adults as well, is they seem to change every every month, probably. It's probably every month, but it feels like every week sometimes. And for me, honestly, it has been every week this summer. So, I mean, it makes sense with kids, right? They change, they grow up, they evolve. But you think you got your schedule down and something changes and you have to rethink everything. And I'm finding for myself that I've got to really revamp my business. I've been thinking about it for a while and I've been doing it. I've been talking about it in other platforms. But now I really do have to do a major overhaul on my business. And the reality is, I only have a few hours a day to do deep work and then sprinkles of time throughout the day. Plus, I do want to stay focused and be present with my daughter when I am with her. So, having that distinct time between each other, between the two, is going to be important for me. But if you'd like a little bit more background information, check out yesterday's live. It's on my YouTube channel at Gail Knott. It's probably on my Facebook page as well, Coach Gail Knott, but I'm not completely sure. I haven't had time to check it out to see if it really is there. So if you only have a few hours a day, one of the steps I would recommend was actually do a vision reset, which is what I talked about yesterday on the live. But then as you do the vision reset and you create your plan, you you want to focus on what's really going to move the needle for you. What's really going to bring in clients or increase your revenue, increase your income at the same time decreasing your time. As you're evaluating these different business models, some things you can consider are one is to focus working with the one to one higher end clients. Because if you're focusing on the one to one work, then there's less management, there's less client management. When you have a lot of clients in a small program, you're managing all of that information, all of that communication. Even if you have an assistant to support you, now some of your income is going to pay that assistant and they're doing that work. They could be doing something else too. So one thing to consider is to working with higher end clients, VIP clients. I've been thinking about that as well. I considered just focusing on marketing consulting because I've been doing marketing consulting for over 20 years. It's easy for me to get clients. I built up my network. I built up my referral base. I still have a couple of marketing clients. I actually have just signed on a new marketing client. So that's something to consider. With that, it's totally okay to have a side gig, to freelance, to get a part-time job, to get a full-time job. You've got to do what you've got to do to make ends meet. Hopefully still enjoy the work that you do. And there's I'd like to take away the stigma about that. You don't have to have a full-time business doing just one thing. If you're a multi-passionate person like me, you're going to enjoy being able to dabble and do different things. I think it adds to your tool belt. The only thing is, it can be stressful in managing too many things. So if you are going to take on a freelance client, a consulting client, a side gig, part time, or even full time. Again, you've just got to be aware of not taking on too much so that you can manage everything. And I'm talking to myself here because I am the classic example of saying yes to everything, especially when it comes to volunteer work. I'm just about to say yes to another thing. So, when you are saying yes to these things, you've got to evaluate is what am I saying no to if I say yes to this? There's only so much more time in the day. And as I'm evaluating, am I going to say yes to this, which I am, because it's perfectly in alignment with my values, both personally and it'll help my business too. So it's a I hate this term, but it is a win-win. I gotta think of a better term for that. So um the person I would be helping out to, the founder of this organization, I stand with her values as well. So that's important to me too. That when I take on another role, whether it's volunteer or paid, that it's in alignment with all my values. So even though it's a volunteer role, in a way I can find a way to use it as a way to grow my business. So it's supporting all our values and goals, I believe. Need to have another conversation, but I believe it's going to work out. Okay, so that being said, um, focusing on the one thing is really important. There is that book. To be honest, I didn't read it. I read the summary, but there's a book out there called The One Thing. It was written by the person who founded a real estate company, who I think might be doing business in Israel. Hopefully, they quit. But anyway, um, there's a book called The One Thing, and the idea of it, from what I read in the summary, from everyone tells me, is that it, especially for us dabblers and for us who have a lot of ideas, it's so important to pick one thing that's going to move the needle in your business. So, what is that? You know, I have a hierarchy in how I evaluate my tasks. One, and I'm going to just go with work business tasks, not personal self care, because I believe actually that's probably number one. So, business tasks. First task is taking care of the clients you have now. And there's a caveat to that. If you need to let go of some clients, maybe they undervalue your services, maybe you're over giving to them, maybe you're not charging enough, and if you raise the rates, you would lose them. If you need to give up some clients that are no longer serving you and you feel like you're no longer serving them to your best ability, it's time to let them go. And the great thing about that is um, they now have the permission to move on to another provider, service provider, vendor that can help their needs in a better way. And you freed up your time so that you can bring in the right types of clients, or just free up time if time is the issue. So that's something to evaluate. Is I'm going to serve my clients first, but before that, are there any clients I need to let go of? And we'll expand that a little bit more. Are there any obligations I need to let go of? I can look at my volunteer work, and I actually did write this in my journal. Was I wrote down every single role I have. So mother, wife, self, of course, uh, business owner with my group coaching program, my private clients, my marketing clients, volunteering for different organizations. And let me starting homeschooling. We're starting a co-op homeschool. So I'm looking at all my roles here, and is there anything that I want to let go of? And if you are more of the logical type person, you could do it by analyzing the time and the return on investment of your time. You may also go by feeling. That's more my thing. Is if I feel any kind of resentment around any of these obligations, clients, volunteer work, whatever, that emotion is a signal to me that my needs are not being met. And I feel that a lot of us, especially the givers, you're naturally a giver, a lot of us undervalue um, that emotion of resentment. We may judge it and say, oh, that's bad. I shouldn't feel that way. And I challenge you to question it. That emotion is there as a signal for you to alert you that a boundary is being crossed, that your needs aren't being met. And if you continue on, you will burn out. You will, you can possibly be broke. And um, I'll say for myself, be sad and depressed. And I say that with a smile, that Filipino smile. So, some things to consider there. Serve your clients first. And within that, let go of any clients or applications that are no longer a good fit. So that's first things first. It's just serve the clients. Now, let's say you're not earning enough just by serving those clients. I want to look at the time that you do have available, the services and rates you are charging, and see where can we adjust the business model there. Do we need to bring in more clients? So if that's the case, and you have time for that, if that's the case, then if your phone's not ringing or your DMs aren't beeping, if people aren't going to you asking you for your help, it's a marketing issue. Let's say you're overwhelmed with DMs and texts and voicemail and email of all these people want to work with you, but you're still broke, then it might be a sales pricing issue or service delivery issue. But if people aren't calling you, it's a marketing issue. It's messaging, it's distribution. So getting the message out there, finding your people. It could be the offer. The offer isn't hitting. And sometimes you got to try different offers to find one that sticks, which I believe me, that's time consuming. But there could be some possible things going on there. So let's say you do have the time, you have a limited time, but you do have the time to take on a couple more clients. Um, Here are some ideas that you can use to get the next client. One is making sure your people know, the people you already are in community with, let them know, I've got room for one more client. I've got room for 2, 3 more clients, whatever your number is. And then you've got to educate them and ask them, do you happen to know someone who is dealing with this kind of issues? I'd love to talk to them, and then bring them in for maybe a free consultation or a freebie that you have, and start talking to the people you know and educate them. I've been a long time member of BNI, of, off and on for 20 years or so. And as problematic as that organization is, it is good at um, kind of forcing people to be consistent in sharing their message of who they are and what they do, and asking for help. I think that's something that we tend to, especially the overgivers, we tend to not ask for help and let people know, I'm looking for a couple more clients. If you happen to know someone, I'd love your help. So again, there's so many possibilities. I really hate those ads you see. I see them all the time because as a coach, you get marketed by other coaches. It's kind of an incestuous business industry. But anyway, uh, um, I I hope that you don't feel like there's only one answer or one solution to whatever challenges you have when it comes to growing your business. There's so many possible solutions, and I know that can be challenging and tough figuring out what's the solution for you. I like to think of it as a science experiment, and not like AP chemistry, but more of of the chemistry lab that you got when you were 8 years old, is you're just trying things out to see what works. So we can reframe uh, that part of seeing what works. Hopefully that's helpful for you. So, okay, let me backtrack a little bit. We are determining which clients you're going to keep, what, how much time do you have to take on more clients? If you can only work a few hours a day, is all that time going to be directed to clients, or do you need some time for admin or to work on the client delivery project? Let's say you're a web designer, you need time to work on that website, um, and so on. So, how many clients do you need? Do you need to look at your pricing? Are you undercharging? Costs have gone up, unfortunately. And another trait of us overgivers is we tend to not charge enough for our services because we want to help everyone. So, and that's if that's the case, you want to look at you want to look at first taking care of you. So, the oxygen mask on you first kind of thing. Of it's okay to just focus on, for example, private clients where they're paying more of a premium for your time. That is okay. You could put it on the what I call the someday list of someday when I am more financially stable and I can offer a sliding rate, or I can offer a group program at a lower price, or I can create that product or that class that people can DIY and sign up on their own. So don't um overgivers, don't feel like you have to save the world by yourself. God take care of you. You're going to help the people that you can. And the great thing about a strong community is that we can pool our resources together. So if you can't serve this person, as you grow your community, you're going to be able to make more connections and say, I'm not the great fit for you, but I know someone who is, or I know this resource that can help you. Okay, so looking at your pricing. So one is looking at, are you really charging what you know this is worth? And then there's the where it meets the your ideal client. Um, I'm laughing because I'm thinking of like all the coaching programs I've been in, where like charge $20,000 and then you shoot for those types of clients. You can, um, but there's so much in between that goes in there. So even though your work is priceless, you want to make sure that the pricing matches the ideal clients that you want to work with, and then that you're also not undervaluing your time and your services. I know there's so much in there, which I struggle against ads that we're bombarded with of like, just do this and everything's going to be fine. There's layers to it, and you work on one layer at a time. But limited time. We got a limited amount of time here. So work on the clients that you can work with. Look at your pricing. Look at your business model. Is there a way that you can still deliver the same quality of services and have it be less time consuming for you? Um, so that that is so different for each type of business, but we can look at some different ways of looking at this. One way is what they call productizing your service. So you create a system, and you probably already have a system, it just isn't documented yet, but you create a system, and then every person goes through almost this template, and then you adjust the template to fit that client. So it's not cookie cutter. You're not going to ignore their own um, special needs or requirements. Of course, every client is unique. So, but you have this system in place, and because of your experience that this generally takes one session. This generally takes about 3 to 5 sessions. So I'm going to take the average and then we'll adjust it for the client. So you find ways to save time. If you are in business to business, hopefully you by now you have a templated proposal. Maybe you have templates that you start with and then customize for the client. So you do that kind of thing. For health services, there you probably have a particular protocol for a type of condition that you support. Something to consider, actually, for business to business or health services, is specializing in a particular issue, and then that way you don't have to vary the system too much, because okay, we are dealing with infertility, infertility because of this. So you have a set system. Of course, you adjust it to the client or to the patient, but that can be a way to save you time. And honestly, it's actually a great marketing tool too. I know it kind of sounds a little sleazy, but it is. When we know that, oh, this is a specialist, they're more drawn to work with you. I would be more drawn to work with you. Okay, I think I covered a lot for 7 in the morning. Um, I'm aiming at going live at about 6:45 every morning, and then going for about 20 to 30 minutes. I think I'm hitting that. What is today? Today's Wednesday. Tomorrow is Thursday. I have my early morning BNI meeting, so I might have to go on live a little earlier to hit 20 or 30 minutes. But hopefully this is helpful for you. Hopefully this gives you some things to think about. If you didn't see the vision reset um, live from yesterday, check it out on my YouTube channel at Gail Knott, and it's in the live section. I haven't figured out quite how to move it to the regular videos yet. But check that out if you're feeling a little lost, if you're feeling like, what am I going to do? I need to do something different. You go through that process and then start looking at what's the one thing I can do to hone in my business so that I'm not overworking, or I can work within the limited time that I have. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know, comment wherever you see this, and I will see you tomorrow.